Welcome back to the Date with Confidence podcast. We have got another community episode today, which I know we are a week late, but we're not going to worry about that. I'm pretty sure last month's was a week late as well. I'm pretty sure last month was the third Monday of the month, when before they were always the second Monday of the month. But let's not worry about that. We have got a few questions today, so let's just get straight into it. Welcome to the Date with Confidence podcast, a place to come for dating advice, support, and stories that'll either fill you with hope or relief that your dating experience wasn't as bad as it could have been. With practical episodes that'll provide you with easy to implement tips to help you feel confident AF on your next date, alongside lighthearted catch-ups where your host Rebecca, that's me by the way, shares her own experience dating after 4 years of the single life. You are guaranteed to end each episode feeling less alone in your dating struggles, empowered to never settle again, and confident that the best is yet to come. And if it all falls to shit, there's a special first season dedicated to breakups. You are welcome, my friend. Subscribe, review, and share with your single friends. Listener 1 says, "Brilliant pod, I find your advice so helpful." And in response to the "what are your biggest icks" question, they say if they take selfies and if they wear vests. And I am 100% with you with the whole vest thing. My ex used to wear vests all the time, but that's because we lived in like tropical countries and it didn't really bother me because we had known each other like before we got together. So the whole like wearing a vest thing was just how I knew him. And because, as I said, we lived in like Thailand and Australia and Honduras, and because it was so hot, it just didn't really bother me. But in general, men wearing vests just gives me the ick. Taking selfies, I don't think I've ever dated anyone that does take selfies. And as someone that has to take a lot of selfies for their business, I don't feel like I have a right to comment on someone else taking lots of selfies. So I am like, jury's out for me there. But yeah, I'm so with you on the vests. Then they had a question. I listened to your latest episode. So this was an episode a few weeks ago. I think this was the last community episode, so it would have been a month ago. I listened to your latest episode and thought the belly button story was gold. I have a related question to ask, but I'm not sure if it's the kind of thing that you discuss. Honestly, anything that you want to ask, I will happily discuss on here. The question is, why do I feel it in my, and then it's cat emoji. So obviously we know what that refers to, vagina, except it's the P word and I don't like saying the P word, so that's made me cringe a little bit, so thanks very much for that. So let me go back to the question. Why do I feel it in my cat emoji whenever I or someone else touches inside my belly button to the point where it's almost sexual? Is it just me? I don't think it's just you. The belly button, and I actually googled this in prep for the answer for this question, is actually an erogenous zone, which means it's a sensitive area that can produce erotic sensations when touched with the finger or tongue. That is straight from Google definition. So, and that's the case, like any erogenous zone produces those erotic sensations. So things like ears, neck, belly button in this case, your inner thighs. Remember that episode of Friends where Monica and Rachel have drawn the places that they like a partner to go to before the kind of finale, and she does the whole like 1 2 3, a 1 2 2, a 2 1, a 3 1, a 7 7. You know like you must have seen that episode. That's like talking about the different erogenous zones, and a belly button can absolutely be one of those. It is not just you. You are not unusual because you feel that way. I also think it depends like who's touching it and how they're touching it and when it's being touched as well. I think that can kind of come into it. But it's completely normal. And as we've spoke about before, the whole belly button fetish thing, I think that probably plays into it as well. The fact that it feels good when somebody touches you there. So you're completely normal. It's very common for a lot of people. So thank you for that question. Yeah, and as I said, like any questions that you have, I'll happily answer them on here. I don't think there's a question that you could ask that I would deem inappropriate. I always like to give my perspective, my point of view on these things. So ask away. If you've got a question that you want to ask me, then you can go to datewithconfidencepodcast.com/contribute. And there is a question, like there's a form that you can fill out. So you can put your name in if you want to. If you don't want to put your name in, obviously a lot of people ask questions that haven't shared their name because they'd rather stay anonymous, and that's absolutely fine. There's also a couple of other questions in there, like as listener one says here, they answered the what are your biggest icks question. Things like if you've got dating advice that you want to share, then you can share that in that form as well. So we've got 2 more questions. The first being, again, these are both anonymous. First question was actually asked on Spotify. So if you listen on Spotify, there is a place where you can ask questions directly in Spotify, and I can answer them in this episode, in these community episodes. So the question was, would you be the one to initiate the conversation of going from dating to exclusive? Also, how would you ask someone out without literally saying, do you want to go out with me? So, would I be the one to initiate the conversation of going from dating to exclusive? I'm trying to think about how I feel about this. I don't think I would. I mean, possibly. If it had been like 3 or 4 months, possibly. But I am also very much of the belief that my future husband, and I talk about this a lot, where I will say my future husband does this, or my husband behaves like this, and that's me like calling in the person and reminding myself of the standards that I have for the type of relationship I desire. My husband will be the one to initiate the conversation. My husband will be so certain about me, he will turn around to me and say, I want you to be my girlfriend, relatively early on, when he knows. And I feel like he will know and I will know quite quickly that we want to be together. So I feel like maybe if it had been 3 or 4 months, then maybe I would initiate it. But I also haven't been in that position where, since my early 20s. And even in my early 20s, there wasn't this whole thing around like dating and then being exclusive and then being a boyfriend and girlfriend. You were kind of like dating and then you were together. There was no extra steps like 12, 13 years ago. So I haven't been in this position where I've had to say to someone like, what are we? So maybe I would, after 3 or 4 months in, maybe I would initiate it. I don't actually know. I'm not opposed to it completely, but I just also feel like my husband will be the one that initiates that conversation. And if after 3 or 4 months we haven't had that conversation and it's not clear where things are going, then I feel like it's probably not the right person anyway. Just my instinct. I do believe the whole when you know you know, so I don't feel like there'll be any confusion around what's going on. And how would you ask someone out without literally saying, do you want to go out with me? I'm going to assume that question is in like, do you want to go out with me? Is like, do you want to go on a date with me? So I don't think there's any need to complicate things. I don't think there's any need to say it other than, do you want to go on a date with me? Or can I take you out for a date? Or can we go for coffee? Or anything like that. I think the simpler and the more straightforward you are, the better, because then it takes out any potential confusion. Whereas if you kind of skirt around things or try and say it in a way that's not outright saying it, then it can just be confusing for both parties and you both don't know where you stand. So I think just go in, do you want to go for a drink or whatever it is the best way to do things. Okay, then our third listener. I've been seeing someone and my intuition is telling me something is off. I don't know if I'm just being anxious and overthinking things. Should I give him a chance? Honestly, no. I feel like that's such a blunt answer. If your intuition is telling you something is off and you don't need to give him a chance. I am so past the point of giving people chances. And again, that comes from my belief of like, when you know, my body will know when it's the right person. If I'm feeling anxious or uncertain or my intuition is screaming at me, they are not the person for me. I very much know and believe that I will be so calm in my body and I will be so certain in my mind, and there won't be any doubt and there won't be any questioning and there won't be any of this like, oh, well, I'm not sure, so I'll keep seeing them. If your intuition is telling you something is off, your intuition is always right. There has never been a point in my life where my intuition has lied to me and has been wrong. There have been many a times in my life where my intuition has told me something and I have chosen to ignore it, and then the outcome has proven my intuition right, or the outcome hasn't been what I wanted, and then I've gone, oh, but I didn't know that, and then I think back to things and I'm like, oh yeah, but your fucking intuition was telling you all along that this wasn't the right thing for you. So I really, yes, you could be experiencing anxiety as well, and your anxiety could be your intuition reaffirming the fact that something is off and that something isn't quite right here. I don't believe in giving people chances. I really, really don't. And I honestly couldn't care less what people think about that. For years, I gave people chances, and for years, I was walked all over and shat all over. And then there were times where I gave people chances because they were not my type, and I felt like I needed to try something outside of my type. And I would ask other people, like, I'm not really feeling it. He's not my type. I don't fancy him, or there's something about him that I'm not sure of, but actually he's treating me nicely. Should I give him a chance? And people have been like, yeah, give him a chance. Like, he's not your usual type. That's a good thing. Your type hasn't done you very well. So try outside your type. And then 3 months down the line, I'm like, no, it's fucking right in the first place. Okay, my intuition wasn't screaming at me in terms of like anxiety and can't sleep, can't eat, can't breathe kind of thing. It wasn't in that respect, but there was this niggling part in my mind that was just like, he's just not for you. And then 3 months down the line proved my intuition right, and proved that mindset where I was like, yeah, no, this is 100% not my person. So I don't believe in giving people chances. I think you will know when it's the right person. You will know when they are good for you. You will know when they are bad for you. Listen to that, trust that. Why the fuck would you waste your time giving someone a chance just in case they turn out to be the right one, instead of continuing to date until you do find the right one, until you do feel that chemistry, until you do feel that spark, until you do find someone that's on your level? The way I see it is, if I'm spending a month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months giving someone a chance, that's 4 months of my life where I could be out there meeting different people, meeting lots of different types of people, meeting more people who will ultimately lead me to the right person. I do sometimes believe that dating is a numbers game, and the more people you date, the clearer you get on what you actually want, and the closer you will be to finding the person for you. And I don't believe in giving someone a chance if there's already that doubt, if you've already got that niggle, if you've already got that feeling, if your intuition's already telling you something. Why would you waste your time giving someone a chance when in 4 months' time the end result is just going to be there? It's almost like you giving someone a chance is you settling for an option that might be okay in the future. If you're in that mindset of, should I give them a chance, you're already in that mindset that they're not the person that you want to be with, but you feel this obligation to keep seeing them because, I don't know, maybe it's because they're a nice guy, maybe it's because they're treating you well, maybe it's because they're better than the last one, maybe it's because we've been brainwashed that we have to give people chances, and therefore that is more important than us trusting our own inner narrative and our own intuition. I just don't. Like, why would you waste your time? I just don't agree with that. I feel like giving someone a chance I feel like if you're in the mindset of, oh, should I give them a chance, you already know you're going to be settling for less than you deserve. It will be abundantly clear to you when you meet the person that you deserve that they are the one for you. I believe that to my core. Whether that's right, whether that's wrong, everyone that I know personally, alongside the countless stories I've read online, on documentaries, on wherever it is, every single person who I have met who is in a loving, healthy relationship with their forever person, and who has the relationship that they have always desired and dreamed of, every single person I know knew from the moment that they met them. Whether that's my brother and sister-in-law, maybe my brother didn't, but my sister-in-law was like, straight away, the night she met Luke, was like, I'm going to marry him. And lo and behold, married, third baby's about to be born any day now, which is very exciting. My best mate knew that the partner that he's with, that his fiance now actually, and the mother of his 2 children, he knew that he wanted to be with her. Like, there was no question about it. She was completely different from all the other women that he'd ever dated. And honestly, like, I never thought that he would settle down before I did, because he was very much like Jack the Lad, like player kind of guy. And honestly, like, complete 180 flip when he met her. And because I've got this evidence of these people who have met and have known instantly and had that chemistry, and there's been no doubt about it, and they've known they're the one for them, I believe that I get to have that too. I believe that that's possible for me, and I believe that when I meet my person, I am going to absolutely know. And I also believe that my husband is going to be 100% certain about me. So, as going back to the other question, there's going to be no question around us needing to have the conversation. He's going to know, I want you to be my girlfriend, and he's going to ask me immediately, because he's going to be certain about me. My future husband is going to be certain about me, and I'm going to be certain about them. So to just reiterate my answer, just in case I wasn't clear, should you give him a chance? No, you absolutely shouldn't give him a chance. Why waste your time? Go and find someone so much better who you don't need to be in this questioning phase with, and you don't need to be in this like anxious, like, am I just anxious? Am I overthinking it? Should I give him a chance? Like, something's telling me something's wrong. Like, no. Go and date someone who doesn't give you that confusion. And if anxious attachment is something that you struggle with, then do go back and listen to episode 59, how to overcome an anxious attachment when you're dating someone new, because there is so much good stuff in there. I literally tell you everything that I have done to overcome my anxious attachment. Go and listen to that episode now. We're going to leave this there. Thank you so much for listening. I know this was quite a fast-paced, quick, short episode. I hope you are well. Also, coming this Thursday, it's my Black Friday sale. So from the 21st of November until the 1st of December, I have got 3 Black Friday bundles that are exclusively available for this period. And any of them will support you in your dating life. During your single life, they'll help you to raise your standards, get over breakups, feel confident dating again. Like, they're really incredible bundles. So I will leave the link to those in the show notes. You can go and check those out. As I said, they're only available until the 1st of December. But if you want to dive deeper, this is like the perfect time for you to invest in working with me, invest in extra support from me. If you've already benefited from the podcast, imagine how much deeper we can go with one of these bundles. So go check that out. I love you. Thank you for listening, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks so much for listening to the Date with Confidence podcast. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. Subscribe, rate and review, and share it with your single friends.